thank you to everybody for coming out to this presentation. There's a few options. There's a rare powder day at Whistler today, and there's football as well. So thank you for coming to a presentation on a Sunday afternoon for Vizsla Silver. But it's going to be a good presentation, and I'll leave some time at the end for questions as well, because this is important to have a chance to ask questions. Come by our booth after if you like. At our company, Vizsla Silver, which is listed on the TSXV and the NYSE, we've consolidated for the very first time one of the world's great, potentially billion-ounce silver districts in Sinaloa, Mexico. We're now exploring and de-risking the next world-class silver asset. Last week, we put out an enormous resource update. It was a 50% increase across indicated and inferred, and a 17% increase in our indicated grade. We are now the world's largest undeveloped high-grade silver resource by a huge margin. The project will continue to grow. We've only explored about 10% of the veins here on the property, and there's so much more for us to find. I already made the forward-looking statements. Apologize. I should have put this disclaimer out first, but please feel free to read this on your own time. Our vision is to become one of the world's largest single-asset silver primary producers through the exploration and development of our Pánuco district here in Sinaloa, Mexico. We're doing this at a time that silver becomes more and more important to the economy, becomes more and more important to investors as a monetary metal. So there's two ways to win with silver, with the electrification of the world and with the unrest that we see around the world. I think silver is the best commodity to be in. I'm very excited that we're finding silver and gold, but mostly silver, at an alarming rate here at the project. We are industry-leading silver producer in the making. We are a standout silver discovery. We've consolidated this district for the very first time in modern history, bringing together two major halves of this district that's been in production for 450 years. This is the first time that the project has ever had, in those 450 years, ever had a geological map, ever had any systematic exploration, ever had any real sampling across the project. So we're making, large steps ahead on exploration here at the project. We have an incredible team, a lot of experience management, mining engineering. We should have an announcement later this week here on mining engineering. Geology, second to none. We have an incredible team here at the project. We are an aggressive, low-cost explorer. We have 65,000 meters planned this year. Last year we did 110,000 meters, the year before another 100,000 meters, and the year before that 120,000 meters. So this has the ability to grow. We have the plus sign in front of that 65,000, but already this is one of the world's, if not the world's largest exploration program for silver. And we have a number of ways that we can re-rate in 2024, including our de-risking activities like our underground test mining and our PEA, which are all expected to start, and the PEA expected to be announced before the middle of the year, and through further exploration, as we've only drilled and explored 10% of these veins in this district. We are in an excellent position to execute. We have 100% ownership of this district. We have $26 million in cash, and we have zero debt. Just a quick shot here on the snapshot slide. We have a number of analysts that cover us. All of them have a consensus buy. All the target price is well north of 100% premium from here. We're top picks from many of these analysts here. I encourage you to read Michael Gray's notes, Phil Kerr's notes. All of these analysts have done a lot of great work for us. We have about almost a $400 million market cap here today, $26 million in the bank. Top shareholders, Franklin Templeton, For Sale, Eric Sprott, Sprott Asset Management, and Craig Perry, our chairman. As a matter of fact, our management, directors, and advisors, we own about 15% of the company. Insiders have been buying the stock consistently over last year. This project is probably the best infrastructure project that many of us have ever seen. It sits about an hour inland from Mazatlan on the western side of Mexico and northwestern Mexico. Two highways connect the property and cross the property here. High tension power running through the site. It's got incredible access. As a matter of fact, we've drilled 325,000 meters of diamond drilling without ever having to build a road. That's incredible infrastructure. And that's going to be very helpful for us as we move forward into production going forward. This resource is very, very large here, but it's confined only to the western portion of the district where you see that purple ellipse. That's not to say that that's the only place with veins and high-grade silver. That's certainly not the case. There's veins across this entire district. But this is where we've concentrated our exploration efforts to begin here. So 325,000 meters, 325 million ounces of silver equivalent here at an average grade of just north of 450 grams, all sitting within the western portion of the project in this, what we call our center of mass. Really an incredible thing to have the spatial location of these veins in such a tight area, an area that we can develop using the great infrastructure like roads and high tension power there on the project. Some of the areas are even higher grade, like Copala, Cristiano. We're talking about near kilo numbers in silver equivalent. If we were to convert this to gold, we'd be talking about a 4.3 million ounce gold resource at over 6 grams per ton. Really incredible. 48% of our resources are classified as indicated. 90% of the resources are precious metals. In terms of monetary value, only 5% of the monetary value of these resources are in base metals. This is a precious metals district, and we're making discoveries here at an industry-leading cost of 32 cents per ounce. You can see that we have the size, the grade, and the scale to make Panuco a standout here. On the grade size, you can see that we lead by a significant margin, both in indicated and inferred. Any of the other comparables in our development cohort, and very close to Mag, Juanicipio, certainly advanced past Aya, and Silvercrest is of course a bit of a freak of nature, very, very high grade, but we're growing in grade as we continue to upgrade these resources. In terms of contained ounces on the right-hand side, we're a clear standout in both the producers and the developers. And when you look at our sensitivity to cutoff grade, you can see that we have minimal metal loss as we increase the grade substantially. So if you go to the 250 gram cutoff, you can see we lose about 20% of our ounces, but we gain more than 35% in grade here. Really spectacular outcome, and that's what you want to see as you move forward into development here. The project is about the size of the island of Manhattan. It is enormous, and we have barely scratched the surface here in exploration. So this year, what we're focused on is continuing to de-risk the project. So we de-risk the project by our underground mine testing, which we're planning on doing here, a test mine at Copala and Napoleon within that purple ellipse in the west. And then our goal is to find more centers of mass like we have here in the west that contains our resource, or contains the world's largest undeveloped high-grade silver resource in that purple ellipse. You can see the property has many other vein centers swarmed throughout it. The potential for us to find more of these is very real. What I compare this to is San Dimas. San Dimas is up the road from us about 80 kilometers as the crow flies. It's a very comparable deposit in the sense it has the same type of geology and same type of mineralization. It has very similar history, except that San Dimas has been in commercial production for 100 years. We've had 0 years of commercial production here. San Dimas has produced 600 million ounces of silver. Vizsla has produced 0 ounces of recorded silver here, and they produce 11 million ounces of gold, similar with the gold here. The potential for this to be a billion-ounce district, I think, is very real. And in order for us to find these billions of ounces across this district, we need to go and systematically explore each of these other potential centers of mass. So that's an important part of what we're doing here in 2024. So we've achieved a large high-grade resource, as I've talked about. We've done initial metallurgical testing. We have 100% ownership of the project. We've completed over 350,000 meters of capital-efficient drilling to date, without having to build a road, I should add. Currently, we're doing bulk sample test mining at Copala and Napoleon. We have resource conversion planned at our Copala and Napoleon areas, optimized metallurgy, ongoing discovery and drilling across the district. And we've done all of that work, the initial geotech, hydrological studies, the baseline environmental work that we need to do that feeds into our big milestone this year, which is the PEA and the second half of, or the halfway point of the year here. And beyond that, we'll look to update the resource further. One thing that's not listed here is that we're working towards a Great Bear style resource spin out. So shareholders of Vizsla, if you were to buy stock tomorrow, you would own it before the record day, and you would get a piece of the royalty spin out. We're spinning a royalty out on the entire district so that shareholders have exposure to the upside going forward, no matter what happens to Vizsla Silver itself. So I often say, and I'm quoted at saying this frequently, but I often say that we're criminally undervalued. And I say that because we really are. If you look at this here, you can see that Silvercrest and Mag trade at about an average of $5.50 EV per ounce. We put out that resource, increased the ounces and increased the grade last week, and our EV per ounce went down by about 25-30%. So we almost got punished on an EV per ounce basis here. Whereas, of course, we should have gone up. So there's a lot of value in the shares here today. You get a lot of silver per share of Vizsla. And we expect that as we continue to de-risk, to match and at some point exceed Mag and Silvercrest here. And I think if you look at the bottom chart here, I firmly believe that Vizsla, due to its size, scale, and grade, and the potential to find many more ounces of silver here, and to very cost effectively put this into production, deserves to be at the far right-hand side of this chart here, and I think one day we will be there.